Hello to my wonderful grade 7 students and welcome. Today our topic is the importance of studying history. Now, under this topic, we have a few objectives that I want us to discuss. The first one is why the study of history is important, and we need to identify methods that can be used to preserve and pass on history. So, in the meantime, while you look at my lovely screen on revitalizing Virgin Islands culture as we celebrate 25 years, I want you to think about why do you think it's necessary for you to be doing or studying history? All right? So now I am assuming that you have all these thoughts going around in your head about why should you study history. How many of you are sitting there at your computer asking yourself this question? What this has to do with me? The past is everything that happened before us up until now. It is important that we understand what the past entails, okay? Because we are looking at history, and history has to do with what happened in the past or what happened before us. All right, so history is a record of past events. Now let's look at our word bank for this lesson. The first term I want us to pay attention to is archaeology. Now, this is the scientific study of material remains, and these remains may include things such as tools, pottery, jewelry, stone walls, and monuments. And all of these are from past human life and activity. Now, the person that study archaeology is known as an archaeologist. Okay, so the archaeologist will be the scientist who studies sites that contains the remain of early culture. History. History is a branch of knowledge that records and explains past events. Now, we are looking at history, and earlier we said that history has to do with whatever happened before or whatever happened in the past. All right. Now, a historian is a student or a writer of history. Let's look at the elements of history. There are four elements of history, and these are place, time, people, and story. If we are given an account of an event that happened in the early century, all right, there's certain things we must include. We want to know where the event took place. We want to know the time. So we're going to talk about if it's in the 16th century, if it's in the 15th century. We would like to know who were the persons involved in that event, and you want to know the entire story. All right, so we can say the four elements of history are place, time, people, and story. All right, let's zoom in on why do we study history. I know you had a lot of time to think about it. Now, as it pertains to Virgin Island history, the study of history will help us to have a sense of identity, to know where we came from. Like in in the BVI, if I was supposed to say I am Michelle Smith, then someone will automatically ask me, or they will think that since I am a Smith, I must be from West End. Or if I'm carrying the surname of Penn, then maybe I'm from East End. If I'm a Forbes, I must be from Seacoast Bay, or at least my people, they might be from these various areas, depending on the surname that I am carrying. Okay, now the study of history also helps you to project yourself into the future. You have an idea of where you see yourself going. All right. So you are able to understand your past. You're able to understand where you are coming from and what direction you might have for your life. Let's look at methods used to preserve and pass on history. Can you think of any? All right, let me share a few with you. Now, some of the methods that we use to preserve history. We preserve history in books. All right, and these books are stored in libraries. The same thing with films, tapes, and CD. Information can be stored or it can be preserved in books and films, and it can store for years upon years to come. All right, some of the ways that we use to pass on history, we can do it in songs by singing little songs, acting some skits, doing some dancing, storytelling. And I know storytelling might be more known to a lot of you because I'm sure your grandparents did tell you stories of the good old time in the BVI. All right. Let's quickly look at some areas in the Virgin Islands used by our ancestors to pass on information. And some of these might just be within your community. Let us see. Now, some example of these areas were Long Look, known as the Stickit. We have Seacoast Bay, Albion Well, also Tower West End, known as Towers, and we have an entire list there. So when you have the chance, you can just go through it, pause, and take your time. All right. So one of the most popular ones we have in Rotong, the Sunday Morning Well. And you guys, you know that our school is close to Sunday Morning Well. So when we are actually walking past there, you will see like the older folks from the community, they actually gather there. Even to the politicians, sometimes they gather there and they sit in there and they still talking because back in the days, this is what was done. They will reach or they will meet up at the Sunday morning well to have the little discussion and share whatever is happening, like talk about current affair and things of that nature. Now we have come to the end of our lesson. There are a few takeaways I would like you to have. Now, history is a record of past events. There are four elements of history, and there are place, time, people, story. The importance of history, we study history so we can have a sense of identity to know who we are and where we came from. There are a few ways that we can pass on and preserve history, and these are by books, songs, and storytelling. Thank you for listening. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.